So Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, is the sequel to the shockingly really good horror comedy Ready or Not, once again starring Samara Weaving. This movie picks up pretty much right where Ready or Not left off. Grace survived the satanic in-law family. She's in the hospital, recovering from all her trauma. However, she quickly learns that the game, unfortunately, doesn't really end there. She must now compete in another game of hide and seek, this time with the other elite, wealthy, satanic cult families of the world. Basically, the winner of this game becomes powerhouse of the whole world, and, you know, she's looking at it like, yeah, go fuck your mothers, I'm not doing this shit again. To which they respond, okay, cool, well then, if you don't play, we're gonna just kill your sister who just walked back into your life. So now, Grace begrudgingly has to survive another game of hide and seek, this time with her sister tagging along with her. I really dug the first Ready or Not. It was ridiculous, it was fucked up, and it was original. I've never seen a movie quite like that. Everything about it worked for me, and naturally it worked for a lot of people, and there were rumblings of a sequel for a while, but I was kind of confused how that was going to happen because it didn't feel like a movie that really needed one. But here we are, and I will say this, Samara Weaving as Grace, as this character, she really crushes it. Like, she's by far and away the best part of this movie, and what I really love about her and her portrayal of Grace is such a broken individual at this point. I mean, she's traumatized by what just happened to her. She's trying to figure out how something like that could have gone down, and now she's stuck in this shit once again, and it's only been a few days. She doesn't feel recovered, she doesn't feel over it, she's pissed off. I mean, she's scared and she's like terrified of every little thing coming her way. I mean, who wouldn't be at that point? But I love just how fucked off she is about this whole thing. She doesn't want to be a part of this tradition. She doesn't want to be a part of these elitists and what they want to do. No, she just wants to go back to her life. And the only way she's gonna do that is if she survives another fucking deadly game of hide and seek. I will say this, I do also appreciate that this movie explored a little bit more on these families and why they're sort of doing what they're doing, expanding more on the lore behind, you know, the whole Mr. LaBelle situation. Because you do use your head and you think, yeah, I'm sure more than one family would make a deal with the devil for fame and fortune and success. It makes sense that a bunch of people would do that. Also, how are the kills in this movie? Some of them are really bloody, some of them are really fun. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, explosion of blood once again in this movie, but there's also some pretty impressive kills done by maybe the sisters or done by someone going after the sisters. We can have some fun kills in a movie like this, and this movie does have that, and I can appreciate it. Catherine Newton, though, as Grace's sister Faith in this movie, that's right, two girls named Grace and Faith going up against a bunch of devil-worshipping families. I'll bet you $1 that wasn't unplanned. But I'm not going to say she was the weak link in this movie, but I never really cared as much for her character as the movie wanted me to be. Namely, I didn't care as much about the relationship between the two of them. Because the movie establishes right in the beginning that the two of them are estranged, they haven't spoken to each other in years, they don't really care all that much about each other right now. Like, neither is each other's favorite person in the world. That much is certain. So naturally the movie has its moments where, you know, Faith is pissed off at Grace for getting her sucked into this whole thing, and Grace is pissed that Faith is even involved, and they're fighting with each other, they're arguing with each other, and then the movie will have moments, or rather one moment, you know, somewhere around the midpoint where you feel like there might have been a little bit of a breakthrough with the two of them, where they both kind of just get out all this anger that they've been building up for years, and maybe they finally reached a point of forgiveness. And then not long after that, it kind of goes right back to them bickering, arguing, and being shitty with each other again. I will admittedly say this, I grew up with sisters, I've met a lot of people who have sisters, and this is kind of the sister dynamic. You will go from loving each other to being pissed at each other in the blink of an eye. So I guess that's maybe how it's supposed to feel real. But at the same time, when it's two sisters who are estranged, I feel like the relationship is mending, and then it's not. I couldn't buy into it. I couldn't buy into growth. Also, yeah, I'm gonna say this right now. Does this movie suffer from a little bit of sequelitis? It absolutely does. I mean, this is essentially the same movie. A bunch of people are going after Grace in a game of hide and seek. They have to kill her and sacrifice her to the devil, or the devil's gonna take them. You saw in the first Ready or Not, it's the same thing here. So essentially, you are pretty much getting the exact same movie. So because of that, the whole, you know, game of hide and seek, it feels redundant, it feels repetitive, and as a result, I wasn't as excited or as thrilled about that as I might have been in the last one. I mean, in this one, honestly, the character's not even really that memorable. I mean, granted, the family that went after Grace, not like all of them were super memorable either, but they didn't need to be because that wasn't like the driving point of the story. If you're gonna use the same story in a sequel, you should at least have some more memorable characters. And granted, there's one brother in a family that's kind of a little bit more unhinged than even the others are, but not enough for me to be like, wow, he really sold this movie. Also, final act of this movie. To be honest with you guys right now, wasn't a fan of it. Again, kind of the opposite of Ready or Not, where the final act of Ready or Not was awesome and completely paid off. This one, not really, because you quickly learn a lot of rules that apply to these families when it comes to, you know, how their cult operates and shit. And all of a sudden, someone just, you know, comes to realization of all the different things that can be done, legally speaking, in this thing. And then someone just kind of goes ahead and does all that, and it really gets people out of a lot of shit that you really feel like they should be able to come out of. And granted, there are moments the characters like, can they do that? And I'm just like, yeah, can they do that? And evidently they can. So as a result, it just kind of feels like a movie with a very cheap ending. It's like, here's a bunch of loopholes to the contract. This person's gonna figure out all of it, and then there you go. So it kind of makes a movie that feels very redundant and then just kind of ends with a little bit of a thump. So all in all, Ready or Not 2, I mean, it's how most sequels go. Samara Weaving's once again great in this movie. I'm glad to see she really hones into this character Grace and makes her easily the best part of this movie. There are some fun kills. There are some moments of expansion on the lore that goes on with these families that I can appreciate. But yeah, I didn't care about the relationship between Grace and her sister. I didn't really care for all the loopholes this movie really kind of pulled out of their ass. And yeah, it is essentially the same story for the first Ready or Not. So if you saw the first Ready or Not recently, and I did, it's gonna feel pretty familiar. And in the end, let's answer this question. Was a sequel for Ready or Not necessary? The answer, I don't think so. So I can only give this one a 5 out of 10, which does make, I think, half the movie in here worth checking out anyway.
How much you want?
Half.
So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.